Hello. It's sorry I had to jump in here so late. I meant to get in a little bit earlier. Had to take care of some personal stuff, and time just got away. Time just got away from me. But I'm excited to be doing a live in the growing Bold project group. I know. Give it a little bit of time before you all join. Let me see here. Let me actually see if I can link this up into the other. Let's see if I can link this into the other post. Here we go. Hey, Shannon, good evening. How are you? I want to see if I can, here we go. I want to share this. Let's see. Share this in. There we go. Just want to see if I can share this. Save video unfollowed. No, that's weird. All right. That's fine. I'll give it a couple of minutes. Anyway, gonna give a few minutes here. Nathan, hey, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you all doing? Melody, welcome. I'm glad you're able to join. Yeah, I guess because it's a private group, I can't link this into the other post. I was hoping I could do that. That's okay if I can't. Anyway, Paul, welcome, Paul. How are you, my friend? It is good to see you. Good, thank you. All is well by me as well. Thank you so much. While we wait for, what's up, Dante? How are you? Good to see you as well. How is everyone's, what's today, Tuesday? How's everybody's week going so far? I'll get into the details of this, but I want to make sure I save most of this before, for when most people jump in. It takes a couple of minutes for the lives to kick out into the notifications of people from the groups, especially because this group has been a bit quiet in the last few months. So pumped for our call Friday. Yeah, Dante, I'd love to hear about that. What did you think about it? How did it go for you? What was your biggest takeaway? Let me see. Can I invite Fred? All right, cool. Anyway, Eric Neff, how are you, sir? Fred's in. Okay, now we're cooking with gasoline. Is the baby sleeping? Those are glorious moments. Yes, she is sound asleep. Actually, hey, all right, hey, let's do this. Yeah, here she is. She's sleeping. She likes to sleep with her hands straight up in the air. It's funny. It's cute. She's super cute. Mike, how are you, sir? Welcome. Good to see you. Nathan, I need to send you a hat. Okay, that's awesome. I appreciate it. It's time. The live is going on. I'm here. Well, cool. Dante, I wanted to get your take on the content or the call or our call on Friday. Sorry, but I wanted to get your take from the content on Monday. And anybody else had joined as well. I think Eric, you were in there. And is anybody? And before I get into this announcement, is anybody going to be at our Bold Marketing Workshop March 4th? Is anybody signed up for that? Let me know as well. So hopefully I'm going to see some of you there. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Late nights with Brian. I know, right? Like I just got to find time. Like this is whatever it takes. You just got to jump in. The monitor, I love it. I know. Hang on, one more bit of cuteness before we get into the business. Look at that. How cute is that? Anyway, she is a sweetie. Thank you, Melody. All right. Well, cool. So let's kick this off. So I've been thinking a lot about this. There's been a few of you, which has been really, really awesome, that have been pretty vocal about this group and how we can improve it, or at least just Megan's been, I don't think she's in here yet, but Megan has been really vocal, which has been awesome. But really, like, how do we improve this group? Like, what can we do better? And I agree, trying to look back, obviously it's all on me to make sure that we continue to push in the group to moderate it properly, not let people just spam in it. But it's inevitable. You know, I've seen really great groups with really great moderation, and it always just seems to devolve over time. It's just a really difficult, a lot of energy is required to really put on a group that has live streaming the event. Maybe. Anyway, it takes a lot of energy to put on a group that that truly adds a ton of value, doesn't devolve into some like, you know, self-promoting nonsense, and actually gives back the amount of time and energy that everybody should be spending in it. And it's interesting, like as Facebook, especially, and LinkedIn, you know, they're all pushing groups as you know, the preferred method to use the platforms. But I will say, when that starts to happen, I start realizing, like, man, I'm in like 17 different groups. And so now it just becomes another flood of my stream of crap in my feed. It's very hard to stay on top of that stuff. Is there real value in it? And I'm starting to think that there's less and less value in a lot of these groups, to be quite frank. And I don't want anything that we do to be kind of half-assed. I'm a firm believer, and hopefully for those of you that joined the Think Bold event, those of you that went to the or joined us virtually in the boot camp yesterday, and those of you that'll be in New York City in our next event or workshop March 4th, realize that, like, if I'm gonna do something for people, whether it's a client or whether it's just content online, or if I'm asking for somebody's money, I want to deliver 100 times the value. And I just don't feel like, you know, a Facebook group is really I don't think I can deliver more value than is possible, or it would just take so much energy. It'd be like a fourth full-time job, and I just don't think it's the best way to really utilize the platform. I don't think it's the best use of my time. I don't think it's the best use of your time. And so we've been brainstorming at Bold, like, you know, what can we do, right? We found this interesting thing that I think we're really good at events, like way better than I thought. We've done some for clients, for some big name clients that you would know, but we'd never really done, like, focus that kind of stuff on ourselves. Now after Think Bold and this boot camp and now the workshop and everything else, man, it's awesome. And it's nothing but, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, it's my team and everything that they do that gets the real credit. But the reality is, like, I think we just knocked that stuff out of the park. And what we really make sure we do is we don't go surface level. We don't just, you know, put together a content with buzzwords. We're really trying to figure out, like, hey, how do we show businesses of all size really the strategies and the executions that are going to help them grow, whether that's marketing, whether it's business strategy, whether that's mindset, mental. You know, my network of people that I'm in with is just unbelievable, right? Like, I wouldn't have imagined that I would be friends with the people that I'm friends with and in the circles that I'm in 4 or 5 years ago. I would never imagine I literally could text 8 billionaires right now. Like, I really would have never thought that was possible. You know, but it's true. I'm connected with all these folks, and the things that I realize are the people that are super successful and the businesses that are super successful, like, you know, clients that we have, like, we work with UFC and other big brands, work with Tropicana. And so, like, real big brands, we're not just, like, you know, selling like crappy, cheap digital marketing or digital marketing courses. That's not the thing that we want to do either. And I think there's an interesting thing that's happened, this dynamic, this conversation that we've had internally here at Bold, is just like, you know, can we do something where we can really give value back to, you know, to the broader audience that follows, because you're all phenomenal people. Such a really great base and a lot of really great folks. Like, you know, for example, I was at 10X and Mike was there. Like, you know, he's been to our office. He came to Think Bold. I've introduced Mike to people. He came to a meetup. I saw him and, you know, he was with Jose, and then Jose was with Coach Bert. And then I was meeting with Coach Bert and Monero. And then we did a deal with Hank Norman and Steve Carless, and like connecting all these really phenomenal people. And I'm realizing, like, man, the people that are really active, they don't have to be like, you know, I'm talking with Matt, and I'm talking with, you know, a couple of the other folks that are there about like really big 6 and 7, 8 figure deals. But then I'm also then having, like, walking out of the door and having conversations with other phenomenal folks, some of which are in this channel, who, you know, have a $1 million business or trying to get to the $1 million mark, or like just crossed 1 million trying to get to 2 million. And so, like, the interesting part about it, the really cool thing, and the thing where yesterday when we did this boot camp, really excited me was that I think we were able to really give value for the people that were in that boot camp yesterday. There was a few people in there that are managing and running multi-$100 million companies. The vast majority were small businesses, like under 20 employees, and everybody on both sides got a lot of value. Same thing at Think Bold. And we're like, how is that? Like, how, like, that's a really interesting gap to try to close. Like, how can I say something that resonates with a Fortune 1000 brand and simultaneously resonates with like a startup entrepreneur? Like, and what we realized is that there's amazing conversations, amazing technology, amazing information that is happening at these bigger brand levels that we're working with, right? We're not just we don't really work with startups. We have a couple startup clients, but we don't focus on the small business. We're focused, like, our business is like, our average client is spending multiple seven figures with us, okay? And so, like I said, the UFCs of the world, the Tropicana's of the world, stuff like that, okay? And so the thing about it is, like, that's our main clients. And so for me, the thing about it is, and what I like about Bold, is we have like no BS conversations. Like, I'm in these boardrooms, our team's in these boardrooms, and we're having these conversations. We're going like, let's get rid of the corporate buzzword nonsense BS. And let's get rid of the like marketing tactic nonsense. And let's actually look at a business strategy, a real business strategy. Like, let's look at your P&L. Let's look at your business strategy. How do we grow your business, your entire corporation? Like, how do we help you scale from the United States to 7 other countries? We're trying to solve problems like that, right? But we're talking like this. And they love it. And they're like, dude, this is refreshing. Like, holy crap, because they're used to working with big agencies that just come in and, you know, nothing wrong with an MBA, don't get me wrong. Like, but like, they're MBA tie, and they're like, well, actually, we need to, the buzzword. And it's like, dude, nobody gets shit done. They get overcharged. It takes forever. On the other side of the spectrum, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm not trashing everybody, but on the other side of the spectrum, the small business spectrum, there's 2 types of businesses that are servicing the small business. We're talking about marketing, we're talking about business strategy. It's either like total BS, like, hey, let me sell you this info product and how like you can scale your small business by just working 2 hours a month, and Lamborghinis are going to show up in your driveway. Just pay me fucking $2,000 a month and fucking magic happens. You have that nonsense, which just fucking angers me. And then you have the other people that are giving really good information. Like, they're not trying to rip anyone off, but it's all just tactics. It's like, hey, here's the best way to improve the click-through rate on your funnel. Here's the, you know, how to increase, you know, your SEO ranking by 3 spots on Google. Like, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with some of that stuff, right? I'm friends with Neil Patel, and I think what he does is freaking great. I think if you want the real raw, like I need a tactic, I need to solve this specific problem. Dude, like, Neil Patel's stuff's amazing. There's other folks like Ryan Deese. He's got some really good stuff over at Digital Marketer. There's some good stuff. But here's the deal, right? And you guys know this. You know this. You can have a better performing funnel. Your SEO could be like way better, and you could have a high ranking keyword and somewhere on your website. You can go from a 0.5% click-through rate on your Facebook ads to a 2% click-through rate. And where does that get you? Does that take you from $1 million to $10 million? No, it takes you from $1 million to probably $1,050,000, right? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Growth is growth. But what it isn't is it isn't a silver bullet, right? So it's like those tactics don't really move the needle. What moves the needle are these conversations that we have, the brain trust at Bold, myself included, with bigger brands, where we're removing all the fucking buzzwords, we're having real conversations, and we're looking at actual business strategy from multiple angles, and then we're helping them execute it through marketing. And I said to the team, I said, guys, this is why we can do a boot camp. This is why we can do a Think Bold. And there's executives in the room from billion-dollar companies that are like, man, this shit's great. This is super helpful. We need to do this. And then there's the entrepreneur with their one employee themselves, and they're going, oh my God, this is great. We need to do this. I need to do this. Why? Because we're talking in plain English about strategy, about how to actually grow your business. But we're not coming at it from theory. We're coming at it from, I've really grown to successful multi-7-figure and 8-figure businesses. And we're working with some very well-known brands in the world, and we're moving the needle for them, and we're growing their businesses. And so we're not just doing this on theory. We're seeing what works at scale with hundreds of millions of dollars of our clients' money. And we're taking that, we're removing the nonsense and we're removing the corporate boardroom, buzzwords, and we can bring that down. Dude, those strategies work for a startup. It's no different. It's just like, okay, instead of doing 17 tactics, you should do 1 or 2. Instead of spending $100 million on marketing or $50 million on marketing, you should spend 10,000, right? It's just now a game of scale. There's more and less zeros. You should do more stuff or less stuff. You should be a little more focused instead of a little broader. But the tactics and the mental state, which is what we did a ton of work on yesterday, actually, in our boot camp, which wasn't just about here's the tactic. Great. Like I said in that, I said, look, oh, hey, should I do Facebook ads instead of TV? Yeah, dude, of course. There's your tactic. I just saved you a bunch of Googling. Yes, of course. Like the tactics are obvious. And you guys know the tactics, right? Like if you're in this group, you've done your homework, you've done your research. So it's no longer about like, oh, should I do this or shouldn't I do that? You guys know what to do. But it's how do you accelerate that? How do you grow it? How do you scale it? How do you not just go from 1 million to having 5 or 10% growth next year? How do you go from 1 million to 5? How do you go from 5 to 20? How do you go from 20 million to 100, right? Which is where we're working on right now. But we're surrounded by people like Ed Milet and Grant Cardone and Jordan Zimmerman, who owns the 6th largest ad agency in the world, doing $4 billion. Good friend of mine, just texting him the other day. Like, I'm surrounded by those people. That's my personal brain trust. Those are my mentors and my friends. And what I'm realizing is like, man, we're underutilizing my network. We're underutilizing my information, our information. And because from a business perspective, I'm being very transparent here, from a business perspective for BOLD, it doesn't make sense for us to go like, hey, let's come up with a digital marketing tactics course on how to make the best Facebook ads and try to sell that online. Like, and I was talking to my team, like, could we do that? Yeah. Could I sell that? Yeah. Could we probably make a good amount of money? Yeah, sure. But let's be honest. How much energy would that take me to put together a course versus adding one more UFC size client account? Come on, man. Like we're adding those every couple of months. We're adding another client like that. And so if it's the difference between like, let me sell a $100 digital product or let me sell a $6 million ad campaign, like where am I going to put my effort? At the same time, again, being fully transparent, I'm like, man, but I've got between Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and we know the overlap or roughly the overlap, I've got about 65,000 people that follow me. That's fucking unbelievable. That's awesome. Like also, again, like, wow, that's crazy that 65,000 people give a crap about what I have to say and what BOLD has to say. That's awesome. But I'm underserving that community. Yeah, I can do this content all the time. It's cool. We're going to do more of it. Cool quote cards, all that. There's value in that. But again, I'm not looking to just go like, yeah, that's cool. We're doing some good value. I want to freaking kill it. I want to destroy it. I want everybody with anything that we do to go like, whether it was free, or whether it was paid, it was worth a 50x multiple of whatever it was, their time, their money. That's how I want our clients, and that's how I want our content, our following, my fans, or whatever community, whatever we want to call it. I want everybody to like, dude, I get so much value out of this, or whatever it is, whether it's just the free stuff or the paid stuff or the events or the workshop or the boot camps. Like, dude, I want everybody to feel like they got 50x. Like, because why not? Like, that's just how I love to over deliver. Like, that's how I've always been. That's how I've gotten where I am. Like, that's how I got from living on a couch, being $250,000 in debt, about to be bankrupt and homeless, to doing $1 million in sales in 12 months and getting off the couch and getting, kicking the guy out and getting back up to date from behind rent on my personal rent. Like, that's how I did it, by over delivering the crap out of everything I did and then just working as hard as I could. But the biggest thing for me was I had the right tactics. It wasn't like I was lazy and ended up on a couch, man. Like, I was crushing it. I was working so hard and I ended up almost bankrupt, 12, 13 years ago now. It was because I had the right tactics, but I had the wrong strategy. My strategy was wrong. I didn't know that like the mental state was such a big deal. I didn't know that like, yeah, dude, you were doing incredible, beautiful work, but your strategy was off from a business perspective because you weren't focusing in on how do you grow the company, not how do you make the work more creative. That's like, the tactic was right, but for the wrong strategy, right? Or the wrong strategy with the right tactic. And so like, that's what we want to deliver, whether we're talking to a $6 million a year client, or we're talking to doing free content, or we're putting on an event, or, and this is the big announcement, the BOLD Accelerator. And this was the big idea that we had. We said, look, how cool would it be? How cool would it be if we actually put together an acceleration program that's not about, hey, I'm going to sell you a digital marketing course. Again, you do Neil Patel stuff. I'll tell you right now, he's awesome stuff. I'm not like pimping him out. I just think he's a good dude. I know him personally, great guy. Like, go take Neil's stuff, right? You want to pretend like you can click 2 things on the internet and have a Lambo drop into your driveway. Go buy Ty Lopez's crap. Like, like, let's be honest. And maybe some of you like it, and that's cool. But like, there's plenty of places. There's plenty of places that you can go to get those tactical stuff. That's not, and I'm not saying we won't talk about tactics, because tactics are part of strategy. Tactics are part of execution, but it's not just about the tactics, right? I could seriously like if one of you was like, hey, give me 10 minutes and walk through like my open ad account and tell me what I should do, I would give you $1 million worth of value. I don't give a shit how big your business is, because there's so many tactics that could be improved on. There's so many things that are changing, and we will get into some of that stuff. But that's not the big picture. The big picture is, how do you create the strategies, the mental state, and how do you pick and focus on the right things that aren't going to create the outcome Brian wants? It's going to create the outcome you want. Because your outcome's different than my outcome's different than your outcome, which is also, again, like, I've got plenty of freaking, great book, by the way, High Output Management, right? Read this. Dude, awesome, amazing, great information, amazing tactics. But like, it was the right tactics for the strategy that they were implementing. Don't get me wrong, I'm learning from some of that stuff. I'm picking and choosing some of the tactics, but you have to take into consideration their strategy was different, and that's why those tactics worked. You try to take those tactics in high output management and apply it to your business that is trying to create a different outcome, and it's not going to work the same way, or it's not going to work at all. You take you could take the best sales training in the world, but if your outcome is not to create that same outcome, it's not going to work right for you. It doesn't matter if we're talking about sales, it doesn't matter if we're talking about marketing, it doesn't matter if we're talking about management. What matters is you need the strategy, and you need to understand how to use a framework and create frameworks for yourself and build your operations, and then use marketing, and then use storytelling, and then should you create a brand? Like, same thing, dude. The tactic of creating a personal brand is so powerful if your outcome dictates that tactic. Let me say that again. Building a personal brand, because, and I swear to God, I probably get a dozen questions or a dozen DMs across social platforms a day of people saying, like, oh, should I do what you're doing? How can I build a personal brand? Blah, blah, blah. And here's the answer is, a personal brand is amazing and super powerful if that dictates the outcome you're trying to create. Otherwise, I could save you a bunch of time and say, dude, don't do it. Don't do it. It's like having 4 full-time jobs. And I'm not even that consistent with it lately. Like, it's hard. It's hard work. It ain't worth it unless it's going to create the outcome that you want it to dictate. And so that's the biggest difference. And that's why we are creating or have created the BOLD Accelerator. Because we want to make sure that, hey, I'm not just giving tactics. We're not just giving like fluffy top line stuff. We want to actually impact businesses. My goal through the BOLD Accelerator is not to make a ton of money on that as a program or as an accelerator itself. My goal through the BOLD Accelerator is to help businesses that wouldn't be able to afford BOLD today grow to the excess in which they can then be a client. Like, maybe it takes a year, maybe it takes 4 years. But I want to put people into this program that takes their $1 million business and turns it into a $50 million business, and then they're a client spending $3 million with BOLD. That's what I want to happen. How cool is that, right? And so if I can, because, and you know why? You know why? And why I was so passionate about this conversation with my team earlier today. So I said, you know why? Dude, because when I was living on a couch, when I was the most depressed of my entire life, Like honestly, like I was going to give up, like give up. And I'm serious because I had nothing to look forward to. I was living on a couch. Every phone call, every email, every letter was somebody looking for money, and like angrily because it was so far behind. I would come home and every week, like in the dark, rip off the sticker of my door, my apartment, so my roommate wouldn't see the threat for eviction notices. I was like, this is not fucking worth it, dude. Like this is so shitty. And you know what? What got me out of that, aside from hitting total rock bottom and realizing like I didn't have the right strategies and I needed to surround myself with people that did. And I went to Tony Robbins' event and that started to kick things off, and it turned everything around for me. But the thing is, I look at that and I go, man, how many people, I can't tell you, I would never say anybody's name. I've got hundreds of messages, hundreds of messages of people that have been or in similar situations. And that shit hurts me, man. Like, I'm not big enough to the point of where like I'm a billionaire and I could just cut everybody checks. But I would tell you what, I wouldn't do it anyway, because if somebody cut me a check back then, I wouldn't have learned everything I learned today. So I wouldn't do it, as much as it sucks. It sounds like it's a solution. It's really not. You got to learn how to navigate out of that. But for me, it was like, if I had something like this, an accelerating program, I would have never ended up on the couch. Right? Like if I started my first business and I had the tools, the strategy, the tactic, the coaching, the consulting, access to a team, access to a network, access to other people that understand that there's more possibility, that there are solutions to every problem, and that by putting your head down, by thinking about it and taking a shit ton of action, connecting, coordinating, putting yourself in a circle and surrounding yourself with other people that understand that and that have the answers to the questions that you have, did you never end up on a couch? Not only you never end up on a couch, but man, if I had that 15 years ago, dude, I guarantee I would have hit 100 million in my first company, right? Like I'd be it would be like, growing bold, the search for a billion now, right? Like for real, I'm confident of that. I'm absolutely confident of that. I wish, and I came from a blue collar family and I love my family. I come from a blue collar family. There's not one entrepreneur in my family, never. Nobody's owned a business. Nobody's run a business. Nobody's been an executive. I had nothing, total blue collar. And so nobody ever told me, dude, you should read these books. You should go to this networking event. You should meet these people. You should get around this circle. You should read this stuff. You should go to this course. You should take this seminar. Nobody ever said that to me. I literally had to hit rock bottom, want to end it all, to end up taking of my first freaking seminar and realizing, oh my God, there's so much information, there's so much opportunity, and there's so much possibility in the world. And there's always a solution to a problem, right? Like problems are just like fun fucking puzzles. Seriously, like no one taught me that. And I especially now having a daughter, look at her, she's still sleeping. Now having a daughter, I'm like, man, how cool is it for me to be able to teach her that stuff, that like when she's 5 years old, she realizes like I can do anything. Anything's a possibility. Failure's not a thing. Failure's not a bad word. It's just a lesson. What can I learn from this? What books can I read? What networking events? Who can I get in touch with? Hey, does Jordan Zimmerman have kids I can go network with? Whatever, dude. Like how fucking cool is it? Because I'm like, man, I wonder what would have happened. I don't live with regrets, but I do wonder what would have happened had somebody taught me that shit when I was 5, 10, even 15, even 22 years old, even 25 years old. If somebody taught me that, if I didn't have to like nearly go bankrupt in my early 20s and nearly go homeless to learn all that stuff, what would have happened? But it's cool because now I can impact my own family, and I can impact other people and their families. And so the BOLD Accelerator, we don't have all the details on the pricing or anything yet. Yes, we're going to charge for it, but obviously we're going to over freaking deliver and give you 50x on whatever it ends up being, okay? What we're doing is we're taking applications. We're not just opening this up to the entire public. We're not just saying like, hey, anybody that wants to click here can buy. We're not doing that. It's not just like a Kajabi course. It's not just like a virtual, product course. This is a real accelerator. It's virtual partially. But I just took some notes because I want to make sure that I hit on some of this stuff, because we really put so much thought into like, what would it look like if we built the thing that I wish existed for me 10 years ago? What would be the thing? How would we grow? How would we take all of the information that we have from all these stuff that we do with big brands, and how do we boil that down into stuff that's executable and doable for companies that are smaller, right? And even become bigger companies, like they can join too. That's cool. But I think this is more of a SMB, small to mid-sized business entrepreneurs that are really understand there's more possibility, but want that network, need the connections, need the insights, need the feedback, need the coaching, need the consulting. And so here's the plan. What we're going to do with this, with the BOLD Accelerator, is going to be, and we're probably going to add and change a few things as we get the feedback and as people apply, right? Because we ask some questions like, what would you like to get out of this? Like, what would you like to see? And we're going to take that feedback into consideration, and it might dictate a few things that we didn't think of, right? We really want to add a ton of value. But the things we know we're going to do is this. I'm going to do a monthly, and sometimes maybe more than monthly, consulting, like virtual consulting and coaching sessions, right? So everybody is going to be like a group, one-to-many group virtual session. Jump on a Zoom. If anybody was in the boot camp yesterday, very much along the lines of what we did in the boot camp. We're going to do that. I'm going to do that every single month, at least once a month, at least once a month, maybe more. In addition to that, because here's the thing, right? It's not just about me. It's about growing and accelerating the businesses. It's about doing what we do for big businesses, but how do we boil this down for smaller companies, and how do we make this make sense for them and for us? And so I'm going to do that every single month. In addition, I'm going to have people rotating in and out of my team also give the same consulting, coaching sessions other times during the month. So it's not just going to be this one thing that happens during the month. I'm going to do my thing, and then the next week or the week after that is going to be somebody on my team. So you might get my COO, who was at a major company that went from $300 million to $3 billion, and she helped grow and scale that company as a COO. She was in the aerospace industry. That she's going to do a session at some point in time. We might have Lisa, who worked at Tesla, who now works at BOLD, who worked on helped scale the sales team at Solar City from 100 to 1,000 employees. We'll have her on at some point. Nate McKelvey, who was the founder of Jets.com, like before Marquee Jets, grew that to $65 million in annual sales. The hell, he was yawning. Who now works with us. He built, grew, and sold an advertising agency, and a bunch of other businesses that he's involved with. He's freaking a beast. We'll have him on. We'll have John, my head of my content, come on. We'll have someone from my creative team come on. We'll have someone from my video team come on. We'll have somebody from my data and analytics team come on, and rotating through these different people. And so, we'll do probably 2 or 3 sessions every single month. I'm going to do at least one of them. I might be involved in some of the others, depending on my schedule. I'd like to do a little bit more, but guaranteeing I'm going to do one. So it's not just my perspective. It's really all encompassing, right? And obviously, if you're in there for a period of time, you'll get to meet a lot of different people on my staff. I'm going to bring in some guests every once in a while. You guys know who I know. Maybe they only pop in for 5, 10, 20 minutes. I can't guarantee when or who it's going to be, but I'm definitely going to bring in some guests, get their perspective on how to grow your business, how to scale it up. In addition to that, because we're talking about this whole thing started off with, and I see, actually, I just saw Megan was asking, right, like, is it a Facebook group page? No, because here's why. And here, you know what, let me put the application, and some of you are asking for the cost. I do not have a cost yet. Because more importantly than the cost is making sure that anyone that is a part of this, there is the, there we go. There, I just put it in the comments. There is the application link. So if you want to jump on that, that's awesome. But no, we'll send out the pricing. We haven't finalized it yet. We have a rough idea, but I don't want to put that out into the universe yet and lock it in, because more importantly, we're going to take probably the next couple of weeks, if not the next month. We want to launch this in March, probably middle of March. So give us about a month, give or take, keep you in the loop, obviously fully. But we want to vet every single application. We ask a lot of questions. It's not for lead gen. This is for legitimate. Like, we only want people in this group that are going to stick with it. We only want people in this group that really see the value. We only want people in this group. And it's not necessarily the size or the scale of your business or your experience level. That's not what's important here. What's important is, do you see that there is more possibility? Do you need a network of people? Do you need coaching? Do you need consulting that's not just like fluffy top level crap? That's also not just like, hey, here's the tactics, good luck. That's actually looking at and understanding, like, how do we help you grow and accelerate your business? How do you go from 1 to 10 million? How do you go from 100,000 to 1 million? How do you go from 5 million to 50? How do we get you there? How do we get you to the point of where then you're hiring BOLD to be your ad agency because you're spending $5 million a year? Like, that's the ultimate goal, because man, if we can get you to that point, well, damn, again, like, you know, what we charge for the group is not, you know, going to be game changing for BOLD. What it is it really justifies myself and my team being able to put in the work and the effort to help you guys grow. And honestly, I want a case study out of this. I want everybody to be a case study, but I want a case study out of this. I want 2 years from now to be able to say, wow, we put this program together. Like, this is how you create content in 2019 and 2020. This is what you do. This is how you build and create a community that's not just a community of followers. It's actually a freaking community where people are helping each other grow. They're learning. And look at how we took this business and this business and this business and this business from here to here. That's what I want to happen. And that'd be a win for you, and that'd be a freaking win for us, right? Like, that's the ultimate goal. And so the most important part is the applications. And that's why, like, we are going to take applications. We're inviting certain people that we know. I'm going to post this publicly so that we can get applications. But I want to do it in this group first because you guys have been the most dedicated, and I know this Facebook group has kind of gotten the back door. So I wanted to give you guys the first insight. I won't announce this until tomorrow. But again, it is going to be a selective process to make sure that people in this group can add value to this group. They're going to be hungry. They're going to put in the work. They're going to take action, and that they want to grow their business and themselves and take everything to the next level. And they are willing to commit, and they're willing to put it in, because if we're going to put a commitment on my time and my team's time and the effort and the back end and everything that we're going to do, and I still haven't even talked to you about half of what we're going to do here. I'll get back to that in a minute. But if we're going to put that in, we want it to be people that we would want on our own team, right? You know, and who knows, like, maybe some people they're just marketers and want to be a part of this, and maybe we end up hiring some folks. I don't know, or maybe you end up hiring some of them, because it's going to be a very tight-knit network. It's not just, hey, here's a course, take it. It's a networking. It's virtual. And it's in person, which is the most important piece. And so I already said, right, so as part of this, I'm just trying to remember where I left off. As part of it, I'm going to do, at the very least, one monthly, like, really, really deep dive session with everybody. I'm going to bring in guests periodically. Again, that's going to be based on when I can bring in the guests. We're also going to have at least 2 other sessions. One might be with me. Just going to depend on the month. But definitely 2 additional sessions in addition to mine. It's going to be rotating through parts of my team, and they're going to have topics, and they're going to be able to answer other things from their own experience, and from their perspective in my organization. In addition to that, we're going to have an accountability a program as part of this, because one of the things, as I started to really ask a lot of people that have done this, started to poll people and really look at what other programs are out there. It's great. It's awesome. You're excited. You go, you take a course, you pay money. It's awesome. And then 2 months in, 3 months in, when it really counts, other stuff in life happens. It gets tougher, and you get distracted and you slow down. And then guess what happens? And then you can't take as much action, and you don't get as much out of it. And then guess what? Like, again, the whole purpose is not to, like, sell a program. The whole purpose is to grow other businesses. Like, that's the ultimate outcome. And so as part of that, we're going to set, and that's also part of why this application process is so important, and why the memberships are so important. It's because once we look through all that and we figure out, okay, hey, we're probably only going to take like 20% of all of the applications. We're not going to take just anybody. We're going to take, again, we're figuring roughly like 1 out of every 4 is going to make it in. Maybe it's a little higher, maybe it's a little lower. It depends on who submits applications, but we're going to boil it down to the best of the best. And once we know that, and we know, okay, hey, this person's in this industry, and here's their motivation, and here's what they do really well, and here's what their weakness is, we're going to pair 2 people up. we're going to say, you're your accountability partners. And as part of that, we'll give you the framework on how to make sure that, once a week, you're connecting outside of the group, outside of what we're doing. And you're saying, okay, hey, did you take the action from last week? Great. What commitment are you making this week? Okay, what do you need to accomplish? And now you're going to get paired up with somebody. So what's going to happen is not only are you coming into the group, not only are you getting coached, not only are we giving you materials and downloadable stuff and audio and video that's going to be exclusive to the group, and we'll archive, we'll archive that stuff so you can always go back to it, always reference it, put stuff in PDFs, put stuff in video, put stuff in little, like course type format. We'll do it all live, but then you'll be able to have this, this banked content that you can go back to when it's, you need a refresher. Not only that, but you're going to be paired up with somebody where you guys are now going to be responsible for yourselves to hold each other accountable. Say, hey, did you do the homework from last week? Hey, did you take that action? Hey, did you make those sales calls? How did it go for you? Start to coach each other, and we'll give you the framework to do that. And guess what happens from that? Like, you're not going to want to get on that call with your partner next week when they're like, oh my God, I crushed it, I killed it, how did it go? And you're like, oh, I didn't do my work. You're not going to want to do that. Having that accountability that is part of the fabric of this is going to absolutely hold you to a higher standard, and you're going to get to hold somebody else to a higher standard, which means you're going to learn leadership skills on top of, and coaching skills on top of getting somebody to hold you accountable. It's freaking awesome. Like Rob Cressy, a good friend of mine, we talked about that, and he gave me that idea and we refined it together. I was like, that's freaking brilliant. I don't really know. I don't know anybody that does that. I don't know any groups that do that, period, end of story. And so I think that's going to be important. But on top of that, what a great network. What a great way. Now you've got somebody that you didn't know before that we're pairing you up with that we think is going to be a good fit culturally. Make sure, you're not competitors, stuff like that. Man, who knows where that goes? Who knows where that one connection takes you? Like, that's what we're trying to do, is think like, hey, whatever we ultimately, set the cost at, that one connection hopefully is more valuable than all the rest of it. Like, and now that everything else is icing on the cake, like how cool is that? So that's going to be part of it. Let's see. Accountability. Oh, the other thing we're going to do is we're going to do once a year, we're going to do a networking group, a networking event in person. Like, obviously there's always going to be networking going on virtually. Networking event in person exclusively for the people in the BOLD Accelerator. If you live outside in New York, we'll probably do it in New York, maybe each year, or maybe we do it more in the year. We'll see. But we're going to start it off once a year. We might move it around a bit depending on how it goes, depending on how big the group is. I might change that. But, you'll be responsible for your travel and, your stay. But, there's not going to be a cost to come to our, let's say the first one we do at our offices. There's not going to be a cost for that. So you guys will do a whole day, get to really network in person. We'll do a whole deep dive course just exclusive for this. So that alone, we're going to, again, same thing. I'm going, okay, if I just did that, will that justify like the whole cost of this thing? Yup. Great. Will connecting you directly with somebody justify the whole? Yup. Great. Okay. Will my time, 60, 90 plus minutes once or twice a month be more valuable than the whole cost? Yes. Now you're getting my COO every once in a while. Okay, yeah. And not just that, here's what we're going to do differently. Because, and here is the thing, and sorry, I'm going in circles, but I'm trying to cover a lot of ground here, and to answer Megan's question and some of yours as well. The thing I don't like about the Facebook groups is it's still part of the algorithm. So it's like, I post some shit in here, you can post something in here, and you still might not see it. That sucks. Right? And the other thing is, it gets really hard to moderate. And the other ththing is, you're probably part of 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 other groups because you're all super motivated people. And so like, you're just getting bombarded with stuff all day. The feed gets distracting for myself and everybody else. It's very difficult. Same thing with LinkedIn. It's a little bit cleaner, but it's just a freaking disaster. It's a mess. So check this out. This is what we came up with. I've also never heard of anyone doing this. Maybe somebody has. This is what we're going to do. Right? Because, and let me tell you why this works. Because here's what else. We were thinking about it from a business perspective for ours. Because obviously we have to make the math work. It's my time, my team's time. We're working with our average client is spending $2.5 to $3.5 million a year with us. That is very difficult to justify my time and my team's time on anything that does not generate very large dollars of revenue, straight up. So we have to figure out how do we scale our time and make it seriously valuable, but then also monetarily valuable for us too, so that we can justify spending our time doing this. And here's what we came up with. This is how we're framing it, is this. Instead of thinking about this, like every other program does, of like, hey, okay, it's Trevin and Megan and Fred. They're all individuals who, we have this relationship or this coaching or this group coaching with. No, well, yes, that's true. What we're thinking about it is we can bring enough people together where now the group, the accelerator, is the client. You all have you're all like different departments within the client. Now we can justify it. Now we can make total freaking sense of it. Now we're changing the freaking model, because now what we're doing is we're saying, shit, okay, you're a $500,000 a year client, like revenue, not marketing dollars. You got to get to 20, 30, 40, 50, $100 million in size to really be able to justify doing business with us. Don't get me wrong, we do business consulting for startups and stuff like that, but we start at $15,000 a month for consulting fees. Our typical consulting engagement is $35,000 a month. And I'm not telling you this because whatever. I'm just being honest. Like, I'm running a business, like our target market is not SMBs. Our target market is mid, like that's our small, again, dude, that's our small consulting fee for small businesses and startups, okay? I just want to frame this so that you guys understand, like, when I'm talking about numbers and we're talking about how do we make this work, it's because I really genuinely want to help as many people grow as we can and take you out of that small business into the medium and large size side of the scale. Because it'd be a game changer for you, it'd be a game changer for me. And look, I'm playing the long game. So you come back to me 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now, and you're like, dude, we did it. When I started here, obviously probably mostly you're doing, but when I started, when I first met you, when you first started doing content, we first started the Accelerator program, was doing $1 million in revenue. Now we're $30 million. We want to hire BOLD. Hell yeah, dude, that's what I actually want to happen. That is how we make this a win. That's how we make the lifetime value of our customers make total sense. And then this is actually valuable for everybody. And so the way that we're looking at it is like, well, crap, if we're not just looking at it as all these little micro clients, that doesn't make sense. Like, we can't scale that. And I wouldn't do this. But what we're looking at is like, what if the accelerator is the client? You're all little different departments and people and, different outcomes, but that is the client. Well, now, shit, we can justify it. And so if we're thinking about it from that lens of looking at this as you're the client, as a group, you are now a client. You now qualify. So you're going to get the consulting level and the insights and the information and the access to, partial access to the team, periodic access to the team, like a client would that was spending $3 million with us. And you're going to be able to get that at a fraction, because it's almost like, it's like the fractional jet cards, right? Like you can't, most people can't afford a $50 million jet, but they can afford 200 hours on one. That's why that program works. And so we're thinking about this way. This is totally different. Like, this is not, again, this isn't some like course, like, yeah, there's gonna be course elements, but it's not a course. This is an accelerator. Like, this could be something where, as we're talking real big picture, this could be something where a year or two from now we say, hey, you know what? We might invest in a company or two that's in here. Like, for real. Like, that's what we want to turn this into. Like, this is not like child's play. This is legit, which is why, again, is why the membership application is so important, because we can't just take anybody. And so instead of a Facebook group, instead of a LinkedIn group, you're going to be in our Slack channel. We're going to have a BOLD Accelerator Slack channel, and that's where you're be. Because where are you on Facebook? Yeah, you might be thinking about business often, but you're not just thinking about business. You're looking at your friend's freaking salad they posted, the cat video, right? And the prank videos. I will admit, I look at those and they're stupid and they're brainless and they're funny. But when you're in Slack, what are you there for? Dude, you're there for business. You're there to work. You're there to get shit done. So how cool is this as well? And there's no algorithm. So like, what's getting posted is in there, and we'll create, again, a framework. Everything's gonna be around framework. So we're gonna create a framework like, this is how you post, this is how you ask a question, this is how you refer somebody. Nobody can be in there and spam shit. You get kicked out of the entire program if you're there and like, hey guys, do you wanna hire my fucking photography business? Nope, like none of that. I'm gonna be very strict about that. And so you're literally going to be able to see, like, you're not going to see all the other client channels. You'll only see this one channel. But how cool is that? So you literally will be in the BOLD Worldwide Slack channel like a client, all of you. or anybody that ends up, you know, applying and becoming part of the BOLD Accelerator program. That's cool. And so like, I'll literally be in there. Like, you'll see me pop in every once in a while because I'll have been in some other client Slack channel or internal Slack channel, and then boom, oh, Brian's in here, and I'll fucking fly through, and I'm not going to answer everybody's questions, but I'll see like, oh, hey, you know what? Hey, you should connect with this person. And then I can, you know, and my team will be in there. You'll see, oh, my COO jumps in every once in a while. And you'll be able to have direct access. You can ask some questions, and we'll queue up those questions, and we'll make sure we answer as many of those as we can digitally in Slack, and the others might be part of topics that we answer. We might bring some of you on and say, hey, you know what, let's do a quick live, you know, this week and answer, you know, 4 people's questions. Would be really good for the whole group. Let's do that kind of stuff. So that is the idea. And then additionally, as part of the group, you know, we're going to do this thing where we do the in-person networking. We haven't figured out the details on this piece yet, but if people think it's valuable, they're like, hey, either you're in New York or you travel to New York every once in a while, you know, kind of like that fractional jet card. Hey, maybe you get a couple hours, you can come by and use our office. You need the conference room. You know, you got to obviously book it through you know, through the folks at my team. Okay, hey, come on in. You know, want to do a presentation there? Okay, cool. Hey, you want to schedule a couple hours? You're gonna be in New York. You know, again, we can't do it all the time. Does it work? Oh, hey, you know, come in to meet a little bit of the team and do a quick 1-hour session. We'll figure out the details of how that's going to work, because that obviously logistically has to make a lot of sense. But we want to turn this into like freaking grow other companies to the extent that no one else is doing. Not just sell a shitty course. Not even sell a good course. It's just tactical. Like, actually help companies grow and get you to the threshold of where, like, dude, now you're an enterprise level client. Like, that's the goal. Like, that should be the goal of anybody that's applying. Like, dude, I want them to help me become an enterprise level client. That's awesome. That's awesome. And then again, you also get access to some of our network, right? So like, we might know somebody like, oh, hey, you're having trouble with this problem. You know what? You should go talk to my friend who owns this accounting firm. You know, he'll help you. You know, he'll help guide you. Oh, you're having a legal issue. Hey, you know what? My buddy who owns this you know, who's general counsel will give you, you know, quick 15 minutes free, stuff like that. Like, nobody's doing that. It's a real network. It is a real network. So anyway, that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna leave open the does you know office have enough space? I guess it depends how many people apply and how many we accept. But again, you know, so that's why some of those little variables we haven't figured out yet, because it's also going to come down to how big this ends up becoming. But that's essentially it. You know, there's other details I'm sure I skipped over and left some stuff out. I'm sure I'm a little too vague on certain areas, but need beanies. Jose Flores needs beanies. All right, I gotta see if we have any left. This is actually a misprint. They misprinted this. They gave it to me for free. Anyway, so that is the deal. So the application form is open. You know, we're looking to kick off the BOLD Accelerator some point next month. Exact date TBD. So if you're serious and you're interested, there's no obligation. I'm not charging anything to do the application. Again, it's not lead gen. I know who you guys are. You know, it's really to see, like, is this a good fit? And then when we have the exact details, hopefully in the next week or two, we'll then let you know, hey, you know, this could be a good fit for you. Here's what it would look like. Here's what it looks like. And then we, you know, then you can make a real decision. But in the meantime, if this sounds like something that would be helpful, then apply. Then absolutely apply. It's really freaking exciting. I think this is cool, and I'm just excited that this is a way in which, like, we can actually build this community and grow businesses, and it's not just BS, and it's not just cool, and it's not just fans. Like, this is really like helping companies get to taking all the knowledge and the information and the tactics and the team and the people and the network that we have and actually putting it to good freaking use. That's what this is. That's exactly what this is. So I know there's been a lot of comments and stuff. You know, so go apply if this makes sense for you. You know, we'll have details soon, but what questions do you guys have? I'll throw another 10 or 15 minutes in here. About 10, I got to jump out. So I got about 10 minutes. What questions do you have for me that I can answer now that I've given the spiel? And I'm just scrolling up here. Trevin put his own son to sleep. It's awesome. BOLD networking. Filled in the application. That's awesome. Come to Vegas. Looking for something like this. Yeah, and I'm also curious too, like, you know, this is amazing. Fill out the application now. Will we hear back via email? Yes, you'll hear back in email. So ask for I think your first, last email, and then the rest are questions. So you'll absolutely hear back regardless. We'll let you know. If we don't think it's a good fit, we'll reach out. If we think it's a good fit, we'll reach out. And then if it's a good fit, we'll let you know the details and what the next steps would look like. But in the meantime, we're going to make sure that we filter these. How's the baby and the mama? Well, there's the baby. She's still sleeping. She's passive her pinky and still. Mom is good. She's doing great. She's an amazing mom. Do you get room on your couch? I do. My couch is now big, and it's my own couch, and I don't sublet it to anybody. Will you keep the Facebook group open? I feel like you can utilize it in a new way as popcorning group among entrepreneurs. I'm not sure if we'll keep it open, but we'll keep it open for a while, Megan. We'll at least keep it open for the next couple of months, the next few months. I won't close this group without a pinging. Probably, I mean, I'll ping you definitely one-to-one. There could still be value in this group. I agree. Maybe it's just like one other additional value add. Maybe there's a different way to use it. So I'm not going to shut it down like right away. But leaning towards, but I could be swayed. I could be convinced to keep it open. Paul, definitely worth the wait tonight. Awesome plan. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate it. Are you also thinking about doing another Think Bold as well? Yes, we're definitely going to do another Think Bold event. Events are like kind of turning into our thing. We're really finding that we enjoy them. They're a lot of fun. I think we're pretty good at them. We're great at them. They take a lot of effort to put on, but that's why we're doing some of these smaller little like virtual boot camps, workshops in the office, and then we're going to do a bigger Think Bold event. It'll probably be sometime in the summer. We're going to give ourselves at least a few months. Last time we gave ourselves 2.5 weeks to put it together. This time we'll give ourselves like 3 months to put it together. But yes, we're definitely going to do another Think Bold event. You're welcome, Megan. Hey Brian, glad to be in the group. See you a couple of weeks. Oh, awesome. Glad you're gonna also make the March event. Oh, you know what? Where is it? Where did it go? I'm gonna throw in here the link to the March 4th event for anybody that also wants to go to that. I don't want to distract from the conversation about this BOLD Accelerator, but for anybody that wants to go to the workshop, and then there's a promo code workshop 25. It gives you 25% off the already discounted price. So if anybody wants to make that, it's March 4th. I'll just give you the link there too. But obviously this conversation is really about the accelerator. Cool. What other questions do you have? Well, I have a few minutes. I'm going to scroll up here. I know there was a few others flying through. Cool. So many comments. This is fantastic. Oh wow, that's awesome. Thanks, Trevin. Love this concept. Oh, that's awesome. Fingers crossed. 2019 to the next level. That's awesome. I love it. You're asking about the Facebook group. I already explained that. Need this in my life. Yes. Do you know how long the program is and it'll make the first time? So yeah, it's not going to be like a start and end any sort of period of time. It's going to be like we're going to have this application period, assuming it makes sense for you and whatever, and then we figure out the details of timing and cost, etc. And that also sounds good for you. Then you would just sign up, and then it would just be ongoing. Like the idea this would be ongoing unless you decided to cancel, we just do like a monthly fee. And then if you decide to cancel at some point in time, which hopefully we give so much value, there'd be no reason to ever cancel. But, if for some reason you decide, hey, you know what, like this isn't for me. Okay, that's fine. Cool. No big deal. But for everybody else that would want to stay with it, it would just be ongoing. That's it. Like this becomes like, if anybody are started like YPO or anything like that, like this is kind of that. And they charge shit tons of money. It's not going to be that expensive like a YPO, and their business model is different, and it's not this, but it's more in that realm of like, this is going to be ongoing, building a network, building connections, constant coaching, constant consulting, insights, Q&As, that was the other thing I forgot. What we're also going to do, because now we're doing all these different events. We're doing the workshop, we're doing Think Bold, etc. we are going to we're going to figure out how to technically do this, but anyone that is in a paying member and in the group or the BOLD Accelerator will get a like permanent discount on any of the other things that we sell, like permanent discount. So even if we discounted it, your coupon or promo or however you decide to, again, somebody on my team is smarter than me to figure out the back end. But like, even if, let's say, like in the future we did a workshop and I threw out a 25% discount, you would get an additional, whatever the BOLD Accelerator discount is on that, on top of it, like permanent on everything. You know, so there's also the, you're going to get value on that for anything that we sell, which is cool too. Where's the link to apply? Jonathan, I put it and pinned it in the comments, but I'm also going to ping this to you here so that I'll just reply right to you here as well, but it is in the comments already, but now you've got it too. Cool. What other questions? Thank you for always being bold. Jose, by the way, guys, if you're not following Jose, really, really awesome dude. And Jose, man, we've got to do some content together. This guy is one of the most inspirational, badass humans I've ever met. Really, really genuinely good dude. He's one of those guys that his personal brand is just starting to really take off. He's working with Mike, by the way, who's also somebody else that I just did, another genuine person, works with small businesses too. Really good people. Jose Flores is gonna be one of those people that just blows up. Like, you know, his book, his speaking engagements, his content, like, you know, he's gonna be one of those people for sure. Put money on it 2 years from now, you're gonna be like, oh my God, dude, like he was speaking at 10X, like he's one of those guys. So Jose, man, thanks for joining here. Jonathan, you're welcome. And just joined. How much is membership? We haven't locked in the pricing yet, so that's TBD. We'll know that in the next week or two. And so right now we're just taking applications. We want to make sure that we are genuinely really filtering out, you know, people that are only going to be a really good fit, that we can help grow, that's going to be able to be a part of this community and this network. But if you are a fit and it makes sense, you know, we'll let everybody know one way or the other. But if you're a fit and it makes sense, you know, we will then reach out once we have all the pricing and all the other details figured out. For right now, it's more important that we take the applications and make sure that we streamline this as best as possible. John, the stream has me pretty pumped. My brain's already moving. I only imagine what it's be like in the accelerator. Yeah, dude, that's exactly right. Like, imagine this, right? We just spent, how long have we been? An hour. Imagine this, and I spent most of it just talking about the accelerator. This, every single month with me, plus other elements with my team, plus like some exclusive like audio or video, downloadable PDFs, little workbooks, little like, you know, course elements on top of it, plus some guests. Dude, we're just gonna, the whole goal is to just make it so freaking valuable that it creates a whole new way, a whole new model for how these things should be done. Like, that's the goal, man. Like, that's the goal. We want to play big ball, and we want to bring everybody with us. Mike, thanks for that. Brian, Muse.com review. Thanks for putting it together. Excited journey. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, you're one of the good people. I want to support. I want to support the other people, everybody that is good people, doing good things, trying to grow. Like, we're all in different phases, but everybody started with nothing. Most people started with nothing. You know, so we're all in different phases of this of a similar journey, and so it's always awesome to see other people that are working as hard, kicking ass, taking names, doing the right thing, good people. And that's what this accelerator is, man. Like, just putting all of these people together and just delivering shit tons of value and helping everybody grow and making the connections and the networking and everything. Like, that's what this is about. You know, that's what's, and to be honest, like as we started to really piece this all together and figure this out, and like, should we do it, or why are we going to do it, and is it valuable, does it make sense for our like actual business, etc. It was really like, man, I was thinking about like all the times it got me so excited, and it's like always it was the Think Bold event, and it was, you know, it's the boot camp and the workshop, and just the networking stuff, and even just doing the meetups, like that's the stuff I love. And just like connecting people and talking good shop and like, you know, coming up with good ideas and solving problems. Like, that's the stuff that gets me personally fired up. And I'm like, we just need to make it a thing. Like, we need to make it a thing. So it's not just when it can happen or when we do it or when we get around to it. Like, let's make a big commitment and let's bring a lot of people in. And so then it becomes part of our business model. And so then it makes total sense for us to continue to invest time, energy, money, effort, networking, connections, people, bringing other people into it. Like, now it's cool. Now it's like now it's a growth model for everybody. That's what gets me excited, man. Like, that's the kind of stuff that gets me out of bed. I'm just curious how many people have like, how many of you think, you know, obviously there's still details to be figured out, but assuming everything being makes sense, the idea, like, does it sound good to you? Do you think it's good? Is there anything that you have questions on or would like to see differently or don't like about it? I'm just trying to see. Just kind of curious, yeah. Is there anybody that doesn't want to fill it out for one reason or the other, but still in here? Got about 5 more minutes. I'm getting tired. I'm gonna have to jump off, but this is fun. This is really fun. Cool. Yeah, let me know. Awesome. Well, I'm going to wrap it up. Like the concept, different from other groups I've heard of. Oh, that's awesome, Raul. Appreciate that. That's the idea. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Megan. Thank you so much. Honestly, Megan, by the way, like, you are one of the catalysts for us to put this together, because I was like, you know what? You're right. I don't like to do anything in life and have things out in the world that just kind of half-assed. And this group was totally half-assed, or turned into being half-assed. And I didn't like that. I'm like, all right, we either need to just get rid of it and say, hey, you know what, we tried something and we just couldn't, dedicate the time. It is what it is. And sometimes that's life, right? Sometimes that happens. But I was like, nah, but I would feel like a failure. Like, how do we take it to the next level? How do we, what would it look like if it was the best thing we've ever done? And then we're like, all right, it would be all these things. And now we're like, all right, well, how do we make that a reality? And that's how we boil down to the BOLD Accelerator. So Megan, like, you're one of the reasons that this is even possible. So thank you. Fred, this is unique. Awesome, I appreciate it. It's like applying to college. I hope we all get it. That's the idea, man. Like, we want to make sure that we're all surrounded by other like-minded folks that are going to put in the work. That's the most important thing. Can I do my application via Zoom? Yeah. Well, we'll talk via Zoom, but do the application because it needs to go through the team as well. I'm not going to be the only person. I won't be able to read all of them necessarily. Well, maybe, but make sure you also do the regular application. Do you see the accelerator becoming open as in networking at local level at one point? I'm not sure. I mean, I think, because we're going to have the Slack channel where everybody's going to have each other's contact info, right? Like, you put it in there, and you're going to have that accountability person that you're going to get connected with. So there's no reason that, people can't kind of like branch off and connect in person. I think that's a great thing. But if we do like an official, affiliate or like sub chapter or anything, I think that's probably further down the line, and we'll just see how this really plays out. But I like the idea. Jose, I'm not big on coaching, but always very motivating by your success. Thank you. Yeah, it's more, I don't like the word coaching, even though it kind of is. It's really more consulting. Megan, have a good night. I appreciate you jumping in. Sounds exciting. You had amazing intention. This is result creating accelerated. This whole group loves this. We'll be excited for you beaming with pride. Oh, thank you, Megan. I appreciate that. Video interview meeting. I like it. We'll talk about it, Michael, for sure. But definitely still fill out the thing. So I have to jump off, but I appreciate every single one of you. Make sure you fill out the application. Again, there's nothing binding in it. It's not lead gen. This is just straight up like for this. Oh, Melody, intimidated. I'm just an influencer, not an owner. You're an owner of your brand, your personal brand. If you're an influencer, that is you own that. Like, that's just one way to look at it, and I don't know how far along you are in your journey. So I understand, depending on where you're coming from or where you're at, it might feel intimidating. But the whole idea of this is to look really change people's mindsets and give that different perspective and framework in order to get where you need to go, right? And so look, like, you might not want to get somewhere that requires a group like that, and that's totally cool. There's nothing wrong with that, but I don't want you to feel like intimidated because you're like, oh, well, I don't have a huge business. There's a lot of people in here that are one-person entrepreneurs, like, and the idea is we want to take them from one-person entrepreneurs where they're working in their business, their employees to themselves, to working on their business and scaling that out and creating a team and getting through those bigger challenges and creating this support system is really what it is. In addition to this, like, coaching and consulting and all the information. So don't feel intimidated. Again, no pressure to apply, but don't feel intimidated at all, because everybody's going to be in a different segment of their journey, and that's part of the cool part, because we can all learn from each other as well. All right. Well, I appreciate all of you. If you're serious about it, definitely apply. And we'll be updating you on this in the next week or two. And yeah, and as well, we're gonna be launching some cool new content. We're gonna be launching the podcast, and we've got the Think Bold. I'm not Think Bold. Mike got me all fired up on Think Bold. We've got the marketing workshop coming up at our new offices, expanded offices in March 4th, which is super exciting. So we've got a lot of stuff going on, but I really appreciate all of you. So stay bold, keep thinking bold. Don't let anybody ever talk you out of the fact of what you know is possible. Like, what's possible. You do. You wouldn't be in here. We wouldn't be talking at 11:30 at night. You have the big vision. You have the big dream, and it's possible. Don't let anybody talk you out of that. Keep thinking bold. All right. I appreciate all of you.